Sonny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person.
Sunny Hostin, who I think is truly the nastiest woman on television and a genuine racist and not that bright, despite her law degree and everything else.
And thinking about that, and Donald Trump saying things that this country would be a meritocracy, you're talking about a man who didn't become the president of the United States because of merit.
If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sonny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say.
Orthopedic surgeon and husband for the View host, Sonny Hostin, has been named in a federal lawsuit alleging insurance fraud.
You know, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, you know, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance. And they're talking about threatening him with insurance fraud. I would say you could get about 20 years in prison, so that's a death sentence for him.
Picture this, you're having your morning coffee, mindlessly scrolling through headlines when suddenly your eyes lock onto something shocking. Sunny Hostin's name blazing across your screen, but not for her usual fiery debates on The View. No, this time it's about her husband, the prestigious Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin. And trust me, what I'm about to tell you will make your jaw drop. Dr. Hostin, who's not just any doctor, but the head honcho at Hostin Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, has found himself in the middle of what might be the biggest medical scandal of the year. We're talking insurance fraud allegations, secret kickbacks, and, hold on to your seats, a massive RICO lawsuit. And when I say massive, I mean 180 defendants massive. But before I spill all this piping hot tea, make sure you're not missing out on any updates about this scandal or other juicy View-worthy drama. Hit that like button and subscribe right now.
It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it and it's nothing
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah,
there's nothing there.
I mean,
Anna went in a different direction. But I love the fact that, you know, Manny is younger and he's
How much younger is he?
Just a little bit.
He's like 1 year, isn't he?
Like a month or a year or 10 years?
No, 5 years. It's more than a year.
Oh.
Anyway, it's not about me.
He was performing unnecessary surgeries and then providing fraudulent medical services in exchange for the kickbacks. Here's a clip I want you guys to see of Sunny Hostin on The View, Tom, basically implicating her husband in this type of a scheme.
Only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, you know, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, you know.
Sunny Hostin today with the following query.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president. Right. You can't have a felon, a liar, a serial cheater. You know, he had Melania next to him, his third wife, who he cheated with Stormy Daniels on.
Now let me break down this RICO Act situation for you because it's absolutely wild. Usually, when you hear RICO, you think of mobsters in dark alleys and underground crime rings, right? Well, honey, times have changed. These days, the courtroom drama is serving us less Godfather and more Grey's Anatomy. Except instead of steamy love triangles, we're dealing with alleged fraud that'll make your head spin.
I've been waiting my whole life for this one. Orthopedic surgeon and husband for the View host, Sonny Hostin, has been named in a federal lawsuit alleging insurance fraud. She got on television. She got in. She run these women. Tell me why she got her husband is named in a lawsuit in insurance fraud, and I'm gonna show you exhibit. Let me say exhibit B. Can you show this to the jury? Roll it, Nick.
You know, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, you know, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance. And they're talking about threatening him with insurance fraud. I would say you could get about 20 years in prison, so that's a death sentence for him.
Sunny Hostin, who I think is truly the nastiest woman on television and a genuine racist and not that bright, despite her law degree and everything else. She found out a little bit, you know these TV shows where they tell you a little bit about your family history and your ancestry. She found out some stuff about her ancestors that, well, take a look.
Wow, I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children. Mm-hmm. To know this information. I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
Her genealogy test came back negative. Yeah, she's related to slaveholders. What are we gonna do?
The accusations against Dr. Hostin and his co-defendants are absolutely shocking, darlings. They allegedly orchestrated this elaborate scheme to milk the healthcare system like a cash cow. We're talking about kickbacks for unnecessary surgeries and, get this, billing insurance companies for procedures that might not have even happened. Can you imagine? It's like running a high-stakes poker game, except the chips are actual patients' lives and insurance money.
I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
Let me dish out the nitty-gritty details of this lawsuit because, oh my goodness, it's a doozy. Dr. Hostin is accused of cashing in on arthroscopic surgeries. You know, those minimally invasive joint procedures that sound totally legit on paper. But here's where it gets scandalous. Some of these surgeries might have been completely unnecessary. Were patients really in desperate need of shoulder and knee repairs, or was this just a calculated scheme to rake in the big bucks? If these allegations turn out to be true, we're looking at one of the most shocking betrayals of patient trust ever. It makes your favorite soap opera look like child's play.
I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got a $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation?
They have.
But wait, there's more tea to spill. The lawsuit doesn't just stop at unnecessary surgeries. It gets even juicier. They're claiming these procedures were tied to kickbacks. Yes, you heard that right. Allegedly trading fraudulent medical services for financial perks. And get this, doctor. Hostin is specifically accused of profiting from unnecessary surgeries performed on taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers.
Always the people that always do the pointing, and it always comes back to them, all right? So when you said this is the largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York, you guys wrap that around your brain. That's bigger than the mafia case. Like the mafia one was number one. This one takes it over. So he was scamming insurance companies from taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers. He was performing unnecessary surgeries and then providing fraudulent medical services in exchange.
The magnitude of this scandal is absolutely mind-blowing, darlings. It's not just about breaking trust or ethical lines. We're talking about exposing massive cracks in our entire medical system. But here's where the plot thickens. Enter the American Transit Insurance Company, or ATIC, our plaintiff in this drama. They're claiming they've been scammed out of millions, paying for surgeries that either never happened or weren't needed in the first place. It's like ordering a 5-star Michelin dinner and getting served yesterday's leftovers. But let's spill some tea about insurance companies too. They're not exactly angels in white robes, are they? They've got their own closet full of skeletons, denying claims left and right, underpaying doctors, and finding every possible loophole to avoid paying up. So here's the million-dollar question. Is ATIC really trying to expose a massive healthcare fraud, or are they just a drowning company desperately pointing fingers to save themselves from bankruptcy? According to Page 6's explosive reveal, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin is just one of 200 defendants in what's being called New York's biggest RICO case ever. We're talking federal insurance fraud allegations and supposedly pocketing kickbacks for surgeries billed to insurance companies covering rideshare drivers.
Pat, you're married. Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. Let's just not forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures, and look at her track record. How many times has she had to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology for all the stuff that she said on the show?
Dr. Hostin's lawyer, Daniel Thwaites, came out swinging like a heavyweight champion. He didn't just defend, he went full offense, calling Addict's lawsuit a desperate, meritless attempt to recover their financial losses. Classic defense move, darling. When someone throws shade, you don't just dodge it, you throw it right back.
And thinking about that, and Donald Trump saying things that this country would be a meritocracy, you're talking about a man who didn't become the president of the United States because of merit. He hasn't he had no political experience whatsoever. He had no business experience. He was given everything that he has. He is a legacy hire. He is, if anything, a DEI hire, a didn't earn it hire.
But oh, honey, just when you thought this drama couldn't get any spicier, Joe Rogan decided to stir the pot. The podcast king went absolutely savage on The View, especially targeting Sunny Hostin. He called her out for what he saw as hypocrisy, always quick to judge others while her husband's alleged shady dealings were simmering in the background. And he didn't stop there. He went full roast mode on The View, calling it plain stupid, and even joked that the combined IQ of all the hosts might not hit triple digits. The shade of it all.
I saw you on The View.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's been overwhelming my past couple days. So I just went in there, did my thing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know who Sunny Hostin was. I actually still really don't know. So I wasn't expecting necessarily for her to kind of try to ambush me in that way and attack my character in that way.
Well, it is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean,
yeah.
it is a rabies-infested henhouse.
Rogan was on a roll, honey. He dubbed The View as the show everyone loves to hate, pointing out how their viral clips are usually filled with controversial or downright outrageous statements. He described it as a rabies-infested henhouse that people just can't stop watching. His fans were eating it up like Sunday brunch. But let's circle back to the Hostins. While Dr. Hostin is fighting for his reputation in court, Sunny has been unusually quiet. And darling, that's not like her at all. This is the same Sunny who never hesitates to tackle controversies head-on on The View, but when it comes to her husband's scandal, complete radio silence. What's the tea here? Is she standing by her man behind the scenes, protecting her image, waiting for her legal team's green light? The fans are split. Some think she's avoiding becoming the next headline, while others believe she's just playing it smart. Whatever the reason, her silence speaks volumes. But here's the thing, Dr. Hostin is just one piece of this massive puzzle. With 180 defendants, including other doctors, medical practices, and even hospitals, this could explode into one of the biggest medical fraud cases we've ever seen. We're talking about an entire network allegedly exploiting the system and raking in millions.
Her husband accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit. Okay, now let's read this. Rob, is this a video?
Well, I have this. I'll show you this about.
Let me just read this and I'll come to you. So, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow. Hostin's attorney Daniel Thwaites denies the allegations, calling the lawsuit a meritless attempt by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier to intimidate doctors and restrict healthcare benefits. The case involves claims that Hostin performs unnecessary surgeries on patients after minor accidents without exploring less invasive treatments, with American Transit citing New York's 1974 no-fault law as contributing to widespread.
Let's dish about Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, shall we? The well-known orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View's Sunny Hostin found himself in hot water when his name popped up in a December lawsuit. According to the Daily Caller, the accusations are seriously juicy. We're talking fraudulent billing practices. Apparently, he's being accused of performing unnecessary surgeries on patients with minor accidents, completely bypassing less invasive invasive treatments. The American Transit Insurance Company is pointing fingers at New York's 1974 no-fault law, claiming it's created the perfect breeding ground for insurance fraud. But honey, Dr. Hostin's lawyer, Daniel Fess, is not having any of it. He's calling the lawsuit a desperate and meritless attempt by ATIC, a supposedly nearly bankrupt company, to intimidate doctors and limit healthcare benefits. Meanwhile, Attic is playing the victim card, claiming they're being scammed through unnecessary procedures and fake billing.
Sunny Hostin, her husband accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit. Okay, now let's read this. Rob, is this a video?
Well, I have this. I'll show you this about.
Let me just read this and I'll come to you. So, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of the View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases.
It's like something straight out of a Hollywood heist movie, except instead of robbing banks, the alleged crime is siphoning money from insurance premiums. But the real tea here is about trust. How can patients trust the healthcare system when it seems like dollar signs matter more than patient care? When doctors and insurance companies start chasing profits instead of helping people, it's no wonder patients lose faith. Nobody wants to feel like they're walking into a trap when they visit their doctor, and let's not ignore the elephant in the room. What if ATIC is just using this lawsuit to cover up their own financial mess? If that's true, they're only making things worse. It's a tangled web of drama, and figuring out who's telling the truth is going to be harder than finding a designer bag at a dollar store. Now let's be crystal clear. Dr. Hostin hasn't been found guilty of anything yet. These are just allegations, but this courtroom showdown is shaping up to be more dramatic than any reality TV finale.
RICO case ever filed in the state of New York. You guys wrap that around your brain. That's bigger than the mafia case. Like the mafia one was number one. This one takes it over. So he was scamming insurance companies from taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers. He was performing unnecessary surgeries and then providing fraudulent medical services in exchange for the kickbacks. Here's a clip I want you guys to see of Sunny Hostin on The View, Tom, basically implicating her husband in this type of a scheme.
For now, all we can do is watch this drama unfold like a slow-motion train wreck and try to separate fact from fiction. Guilty or innocent, this case has already put both the healthcare and insurance industries under a harsh spotlight that's revealing some very uncomfortable truths.
Here's a clip I want you guys to see of Sunny Hostin on The View, Tom, basically implicating her husband in this type of a scheme. Play the clip, Rob.
Wait, hold on. Let Sunny get in here.
I mean, I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do. So there are a lot of problems with it. But the notion that we are in a violent country, this country was built on violence. We're a very violent country.
But wait, there's more tea to spill. Sunny finally broke her silence, and honey, she came out swinging. She's defending her husband, claiming that the plaintiff, American Transit, the insurance company mainly serving rideshare drivers, has a history of filing frivolous claims. Now, if you're as invested in this drama as we are, buckle up, because we're about to spill everything we know about this legal storm surrounding Sunny and Manny Hostin.
Sunny Hostin today with the following query.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here, because they voted almost 80% for the vice president.
Right.
So why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive health freedoms? And why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
I don't think white women like being called uneducated white women. I think the economy matters, national security matters. But when you put people in these boxes, I think that's a takeaway from this, right?
By that, she means non-college educated women, which in her world means you're uneducated. Mm-hmm. You're a dumbass. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm thinking of Charlie Kirk. He did not go to college. He is not dumb. he's responsible in large part for this win today. It's just so offensive.
So who exactly is Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin? Let me tell you, darling, he's not just any doctor. We're talking about a well-known orthopedic surgeon based in the Big Apple with nearly 29 years of experience under his belt. He graduated from the oh-so-prestigious Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in 1996 and went on to establish his own practice, Hostin Orthopedics and Sports Medicine in Manhattan in 2006.
Anna went in a different direction. But I love the fact that, you know, Manny is younger and he's
How much younger is he?
Just a little bit.
He's like 1 year, isn't he?
Like a month or a year or 10 years?
5 years. It's more than a year.
Oh.
Anyway, it's not about me. I think.
no.
I think that it's very helpful that he's handy, and when we travel, I'm not picking up any bags. He's the one that's hefting them overhead. He
Exactly.
throws the garbage out.
Right.
He does the heavy stuff.
Now let's dish about his personal life. Manny and Sonny have been married since 1998, and they've got 2 absolutely brilliant kids. Gabriel, who's currently living that Harvard life, and Paloma, who's making waves at Cornell. But don't worry, we'll spill more tea about Manny's background and his relationship with The View co-host Sunny Hostin in just a bit. So what exactly is Dr. Emmanuel Hostin being accused of? Honey, grab your popcorn because this is where it gets wild. According to the lawsuit, Dr. Hostin has allegedly been providing fraudulent medical services, including unnecessary arthroscopic surgeries through his practice, Hostin Orthopedics. But that's not all. He's also accused of billing American Transit for these services even though they might not have been needed. And the cherry on top, the lawsuit claims he did all this for kickbacks and other forms of compensation, allegedly disguised as dividends or cash payments. Of course, Dr. Hostin denies everything.
Uh-oh. Miss Sunny Hostin's husband, Mr. Hostin, is in hot water for medical fraud. And I think Sunny may have opened Pandora's box when she said this on The View.
I mean, I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, you know, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, you know, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, you know.
This just dropped last night. Her husband is being sued as a co-defendant in a very large RICO case against healthcare professionals who are overbilling and committing fraud. And her husband is one of those people.
Orthopedic surgeon Dr. Emmanuel Hostin is among nearly 200 defendants named in this case. He's accused of getting kickbacks by performing surgery and fraudulently billing a company that insures taxi companies, Uber, and Lyft drivers.
So what's Dr. Emmanuel Hostin saying about all this drama? Well, he's keeping quiet personally, but his attorney, Daniel John Thwaites, is doing all the talking, and honey, he's not holding back. He told the Daily Mail that his client flat out denies every single allegation in the lawsuit. Thwaites went full attack mode, calling the case a meritless attack from an insurance company that's supposedly on the brink of bankruptcy. According to Thwaites, this lawsuit is nothing but a blanket attempt to intimidate doctors who've treated patients insured by American Transit. He claims American Transit rushed into the lawsuit without even trying to have a conversation with Dr. Hostin or his legal team first. According to him, the real tea is that the insurance company is misusing the legal system to limit healthcare benefits and dodge their bills. But what about Sunny? Oh darling, when she finally spoke up to Entertainment Weekly, she did not hold back. She blasted the whole thing as a frivolous civil lawsuit targeting not just her husband, but nearly 200 other doctors. She accused American Transit of using her celebrity status to launch what she calls a disgusting smear campaign against her family, even claiming they plastered pictures of her family all over tabloid magazines. Sunny made it crystal clear this isn't just about her husband anymore. She claims American Transit is harassing her and her loved ones to avoid paying their bills. And honey, she's not backing down. In her words, our family will not be intimidated and harassed. We remain unbowed. She's even hired high-profile attorney Mar Gagos and is planning to file a counter lawsuit for $5 million for their allegedly defamatory claims. And that amount could go up. What does Sunny want? Simple. She wants the false allegations retracted, her husband paid what he's owed, and an official public apology from American Transit. She didn't mince words about her frustration either, saying insurance companies like American Transit are making an already broken healthcare system even worse with their despicable tactics. And then she dropped this bomb. Where she comes from, American Transit is about to get a PhD from FFO University. Now, let's peek behind the curtain at Sunny and Manny's relationship. These two lovebirds tied the knot in 1998, just 2 2 years after their first meeting. Their journey hasn't been all roses. Sunny has opened up about her struggles with infertility, multiple miscarriages, and IVF treatments before they finally welcomed their 2 beautiful children, Gabriel and Paloma. Back in 2021, Sunny shared the sweetest Father's Day tribute to Manny on Instagram, calling him their super dad and praising him for all the little and big things he does for their family. "You do all the things," she wrote, adding that they were lucky to have him in their lives. Her post was absolutely overflowing with love, topped off with a sweet Bezos. Sunny's never shy about sharing their life together on The View. She's dished about their relationship dynamics, revealing that Manny's not exactly the chef in the house. She runs the kitchen while he handles outdoor chores. She's also admitted that when it comes to arguments, she can't stand going to bed angry. "I sort of believe in don't let the sun set on your anger," she explained. "If Manny and I are in an argument, I can't sleep." But how did these 2 lovebirds first meet? Oh, honey, it's the sweetest story. According to Sunny, it all started at a church in Maryland. She was there after a run, not exactly dressed for service, when she spotted Manny looking absolutely dashing in a beautifully tailored suit. She couldn't resist following him to a nearby bagel shop to strike up a conversation. It's become quite the running joke between them. Manny tells people they met in a bagel shop, while Sunny's quick to remind everyone that their connection actually started in church. Their journey to parenthood wasn't easy. After years of trying, they welcomed their son, Gabriel Hostin, on August 15, 2002, and 4 years later, their daughter Paloma was born in May 2006. In her memoir, Sunny shared their emotional fertility journey, opening up about her struggles and IVF experience. In an interview with Wendy City Live, she revealed how tough it was to write about motherhood. "I struggled for years with infertility and was ashamed of it for so long." She shared that she had experienced 5 miscarriages and was on bed rest for 7 months while pregnant with Gabriel, which led to deep depression. But Sunny wanted to make sure other women facing similar struggles knew they weren't alone. "I thought I need to talk about this so that women will know they're not alone and that it's nothing to be ashamed of," she said. And now, back to the current drama. This scandal is far from over, darlings. Every new twist keeps adding more spice to this already piping hot tea, and we're living for it. If you've enjoyed today's juicy breakdown, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. You won't want to miss any of the upcoming popcorn-worthy moments in this courtroom saga. Stay tuned, saga. Stay tuned, saga.